because I thought I am too broken to be good enough for anybody to love me. I am too broken to ever be helped or ever be fixed.
Some people help you feel better in the moment. Others help you transform your entire life. Cari Rickabaugh does both. With more than 2 decades of experience in licensed massage therapist, master in bodywork, and trauma healing life coach, Cari's work goes far beyond just the physical touch. She guides people deep past the surface of symptoms, past the quick fixes, to the root of what is holding them back. Her passion for this work comes from her own journey. Cari has lived through abuse, trauma, and seasons of uncertainty that could have left her stuck. Instead, she turned them into fuel. Fuel for healing, for bold personal change, and for the creating the kind of life she once thought she would never achieve. From working with professional athletes to speaking on stages, Cari's mission is the same: to help people believe they can overcome anything and live life as if failure was never an option. Cari, welcome to Positive Vibes.
Thank you so much, Nikki. I'm so excited to be here.
And we're excited to have you here to tell us your journey and your story here today, Cari. So, if you can take us back to the time when you felt like you were in just the survival mode, what was that like for you?
That was actually the first 40, almost 45 years of my life
Wow.
was all I knew was survival mode. And that to me was normal. I didn't know there was a different way to be where I wasn't consciously having my nervous system triggered all the time, where I was walking on pins and needles and always was worried about saying the right thing or doing the right thing or having to be on the defense. It was stressful. It was strenuous. And it felt like every day I would wake up and just white knuckle it through the day to get back into bed at night. And it was extremely a depressed way to live and just a struggle. Every day was a struggle.
That's a long time, 45 years. So
Mhm.
how did that experience help you shape your passion for healing others?
There's a couple of different things. Part of it is I knew at 18 that I wanted to be a massage therapist and I wanted to help people physically. And so when I was 22, I went to massage therapy school and I was licensed. I've actually been a licensed massage therapist for 24 years now.
Mm,
And it that has been even through the everyday, struggle that it was, that has been a huge blessing for me because I was able to serve and able to give. And it was these little breaks of it's not about what I'm going through anymore. It's about what this person is doing and how I can help them.
hmm
And the massage therapy that I do, when somebody says the word massage, there's this atypical picture that people get. And it's this relaxing and music playing and I call it a fluff and buff where somebody it's falling asleep and that's not what I do at all when it comes to massage. What I really gravitated toward was let's figure out what the core issue is and
mm,
let's get you functioning well long term and not just for a day or two.
mm,
And I found that once I started going through my healing journey and started coaching, that's exactly what we do in coaching.
mm,
And so I was kind of living that way already of trying to help people in the only way that I could and the only way I knew at that time. And then it progressed into coaching as well. And now I integrate both of them together.
mm. So through your healing, was there a specific moment that you decided, I'm not just going to get through this, I'm going to create something better?
There was um, there was a conference that I went to. So I had been in working with a coach for probably about a year and a half at this
Mm-hmm.
point, and we had gone through, we had done mostly just trauma resolution for most of that time. There
Yeah.
wasn't a whole lot of creating, there wasn't a whole lot of what does the future look like. It was just processing the past. And there was so much trauma that a year and a half into it, we were still going through incident after incident after incident. And there was this conference that I wanted to go to called the Ultimate Experience in Arizona. And I didn't think I was going to be able to go. And 4 days before it started, things just kind of shifted for me. I ended up on a plane 2 days later, found a place to stay, got a ticket to the event, one of the last tickets that was available, and just showed up there. And didn't know, had never met anybody in person, had met a couple of people online, but I didn't know really what to expect. And I went straight from the airport to the event the night before it started because I knew that they were setting up and they had asked for people to come help set up. And I had this, the way I was taught, the way I was raised was to pretend to be who you wanted to be.
Mm.
So out in public, we as a family were this picture perfect family. And then back home, there was a lot of abuse and a lot of toxicity, and it was just very different. And so as an adult, I had no idea who I was, and I thought
Mm.
everybody acted. And what you saw was this fake persona.
Mm.
And so I walked into this room and I thought, I can be this perfect person and everybody will love me and it'll be great. I'll have this, group of people that I've never had in my life. And as I was helping get things put together, I was spilling water, I was breaking things, like it just fell apart. And
Mm.
I ended up in the bathroom just crying, wanting to get on a plane and fly home that night and just sneak out of there because I thought I am too broken to be good enough for anybody to love me. I am
Mm.
too broken to ever be helped or ever be fixed. And I sat in the bathroom for about a half hour just bawling and
Mm.
realizing that trying to fly home that night just wasn't a reality. So I splashed some cold water on my face and put on, that smile again, just pretended to be okay and walked out. And very shortly after that, we had a blessing of the venue. And so everybody who was there got in a circle and said this blessing. And then we all kind of were given this space to do whatever we want. And I had this miraculous interaction with three men that were practically strangers to me that came up and just poured so much love into me
Mm.
in a way that I could finally receive it because I was in this room of like 50, 60 people that were just full of energy and my spirit finally felt aligned. And
Mm.
at that point, I knew that something could be different, but it wasn't automatically going to happen. I was going to have to do some work, but the possibility was there where that had never been a possibility before.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
by the next day, shifts this started happening because
Mm.
I accepted that there was a possibility that I could step into. And
Mm.
that's kind of where things have taken off from.
Mm, yeah, it's extraordinary how the body, mind, and spirit works together, and that you went to that breakdown in the bathroom, and that was the
Mhm.
time it needed to because you had this support of people around you that you didn't know to help you see the opportunity, what can be. So just on all your work, you touched on before that your massage isn't just about massage. So you combine your body work, coaching, and energy work together. For someone new to this, how do these approaches work together?
So massage really works the blood vessels and the muscles, and it gets things going
Hmm.
in terms of the physical sense. With energy work, what we can do is we can go in and we can tap in and we can pull out emotions. We can pull out feelings. We can even pull out memories. The first 10 years of my life were full of this traumatic abuse that I had forced myself at age 10 to
Mm.
forget. And it had controlled my life. And for 20 years, I felt like I was stuck. This was part of the white knuckling every day because I wanted to change. I wanted to be somebody different. And
Yeah.
I never felt like I could because there was all this hidden trauma. And so, as part of my coaching with my coach and processing other traumas that was on other layers, we were able to open up a space and actually pull out with some energy work, pull out this trauma, bring it to the surface
Mm,
so that I could finally deal with it and process it and accept it and let it go and go past it. And
mm,
so energy work is great for if you're feeling like emotionally stuck.
mm-hmm,
You know, if you are very reactive and you find it very hard to like stop and take that breath and think, or if you have these feelings of anger, frustration that you just can't get rid of, the energy work is really good at sorting those out and bringing those to the surface so they can be addressed.
mm,
And then you have the the massage and the energy work together. If you put the coaching with that, the coaching takes the mental part of it and it deals with the actual memories. It deals with your beliefs that you have that have been formed, the things that are true to you now. And it really helps to hold up a mirror and reflect things that I call in your blind spot that are automatic to you that you can't really see. And so within all of that, we're addressing the physical, the spiritual, and the mental. And it's
mm.
just full body holistic healing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really looking at the layers of the onion, aren't you? You're going through the whole holistic healing side of it. It sounds powerful and magical at the same time. So just on that, with your healing, what is the most powerful transformation you've witnessed in a client?
I I have I have this client. He's incredible.
Mm,
He came to me and said, he said, I've really struggling with something. We had just met a couple of months before. He lived on the other side of the world. He lived in England. I lived in the US. We got on a video call to just kind of connect and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is who I am. And it was, I think, the third conversation that we had where he just opened up and said, I'm really struggling with something. And my intuition said, go through some energy work with him.
hmm
And so I went through this energy work session with him for about 20 minutes. I said, are you open? Are you willing to do something that may seem a little bit weird? And he said, yeah, absolutely. And so sitting in his car in a parking lot, I took him through this energy session and he opened up his eyes and was like, I feel so different. Can I coach with you? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't even thinking about making him a client. And so we started coaching together. And in these first 3 months that we coached together, we were able to uncover some hidden trauma that he had.
hmm
We were able to get him to a point where he was able to connect energetically with his family, where he had always really butted up against them and had a hard time with
mm,
them. And then he was able to tap into energetically his ancestors, some of his ancestors that had trauma, and he learned about the generational trauma that came down the line. And he was able to see his family completely differently because he was able to see them for the things that they had gone through and not just for what the judgments were that he had based on them.
mm,
And from there, this gentleman, he ended up going on stage and speaking at a conference in front of 250 people. Not 8 months later, he ended up creating a document for himself of ideals and things that he lives by, that he's creating himself to be every single
mm,
day. He is opening up a coaching practice. He's extremely talented. He wants to produce music. He wants to publish. He wants all of these things that before he was just so stuck in this rut of, I can't do anything. And he just realized who he was and opened up and is just doing amazing things nowadays.
mm.
It's
So
beautiful.
yeah, it sounds magical. So would you say this kind of work on the body helps unlock emotional and mental breakthroughs?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. And even though he was on the other side of the world, so I couldn't do a physical massage on him, we could do neurolinguistic programming, which goes back and it helps reframe the memories that we have, the
Yeah.
traumatic memories. We could do or a somatic work, which helps bring that energy and those feelings up and it taps you into your
Yeah.
body. He was very intellectual. And so
Mm.
everything went through the intellectual brain, but he never really felt anything that he was going through. And once we were able to get him to tap into what he was feeling in his body,
Mm.
then he was able to think about it and connect it differently and process it.
Yeah.
Where before he just felt like there was a wall.
Yeah. So further on that, Kari, you believe people can create a life they want if they knew they couldn't fail. So what does that mindset shift look like?
It's a little bit different for everybody because it depends on what their
Mhm.
experiences were, but it in general is freedom.
Mm.
It is absolute freedom. And it's what I went through too, because I believed that I could not be anything, that I was broken, that I couldn't create. I didn't know that I had a choice
Yeah.
to choose what happened in my life. I thought I was a victim to whatever happened to me. And once I realized I'm letting go of stuff that I didn't even know I was holding on to, and it just felt free. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, if I want to do that, I can.
Yeah.
If I want to let go of this, I can. I spoke at a conference in January and shared part of my story of the first 10 years of my life. And I had woman after woman come up to me afterwards and just throw their arms around me, crying and saying, I'd never met anybody who went through the same trauma I did as a
Mm.
child. And I said, one, you have. We're just taught not to talk about it
Mm.
societally. But two, do you know you can talk about this? Do you know you don't have to carry it? And some of them were like, I thought I had to carry this for the rest of my life. I said, you don't. You
Mm.
are allowed to heal. You are allowed to put this down. This was given to you, but it's not your responsibility to carry.
Mm.
And once you do that, that wall that it put up in front of you that blocks you opens up and you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And I tell people if they can't fail, you really can't.
Mm.
Because taking any step into your future, that's success right there.
Mm. So further on that, how do you guide someone from just coping to truly thriving?
You have to find what it is that they believe, what is true
Mm.
to them now. And a lot of times we have to go back and find the source of that. So people will get stuck in, I can't do that because I'm lazy or I'm clumsy or don't
Mm.
have this talent. Well, says who? Well,
Mm.
that's just who I am. Well, somebody gave you that. You picked that up at some point. Somebody said that to you, or somebody said that about somebody else and you associated with it, or maybe a bully had said this to you, or a parent when they were upset had said, quit being so lazy, and you took that on as an identity.
Mm.
Let's figure out what those truths are
Mm.
and let's get rid of them. Let's find out what is really true, what authentically is true for you.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have that foundation, then all you have to decide is what you want to do because
Mm-hmm.
everything's available.
Yeah.
Everything is available.
Yeah. And with that, is there one small daily choice people can take today or start today that can change their journey?
The thing that's coming to me right now is to share my motto for the year. Some people pick a word that they hold on to for a year. I
Mm.
pick mottos, and my motto for this year is do it scared.
Mm.
And there are some days where I don't even know what I'm going to do, but I know that whatever comes up in front of me, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it scared. If
Mm.
it scares me, if it makes me anxious, if I'm tired, you just do it. Whatever is there, do it.
Mm.
I have a very dear friend named Bodhi Kenyon who spoke at the same conference that I spoke at in January, and he said that he had recently started this practice of once he gets a thought, he acts on it within 3 seconds, bar
Wow.
none, no questions asked. Within 3 seconds, if it comes into his head, he starts acting into it. And then probably about 2 months later, when we talked, he said, now everything is just automatic. And
Mm,
he had developed that. And he said, sometimes I have to do things frightened. Sometimes something comes up, I get the physical reaction of, I don't want to, or this is
mm,
frightening. And then I step and I do it anyway.
mm,
So whatever it is that you want to do or that comes in your mind, just do it and do it
mm.
scared.
So, just on that motto, do it scared, what role does courage play in healing and transformation?
It's massive. It
Mm,
is massive because if there is trauma in somebody's past, it takes courage for you to process that.
mm,
And you don't necessarily have to relive it, but the way that we get through things, and this is the very simplistic version of it, is you have to feel things all the way through until they're felt. And then your body can let them go. But when we start to feel things that are uncomfortable or we don't like, we tend to shut that off and our brain will automatically distract ourselves.
mm,
And that's a lot of times with meditation. I struggle with meditation because I'll focus on something, it'll bring up a feeling, and my brain automatically is like, what am I going to have for dinner? Did I lock the door? Like it, and I have to pull myself right back to center and be like, it's okay. It's okay to feel this. Your
mm,
nervous system has been taught in whatever way to keep you safe. And so your body is automatically going to try and avoid anything that's uncomfortable.
mm,
But if we can become comfortable being uncomfortable, then we can feel and process things all the way through, and then we're not holding them anymore.
mm. So, just on people that have suffered trauma, how do you encourage people to trust themselves after they've been through trauma?
Part of it is I share a lot of my story. I am pretty much an open book. I've actually written in a book about some of my story, and the trauma that I have been through is a lot of different facets, a lot of different types of abuse. And I am very open with it.
Mm,
And so when they're talking to me, I try and create a space and give them permission to share and be in whatever their trauma is,
mm,
because I come from a place of understanding, of having been there,
mm,
of not knowing what to do with those feelings, of not knowing why my nervous system was in fight or flight all the time, not knowing why I constantly reacted angrily or sad. I it you it's important to find somebody or find a tribe, find a community of people who understand,
mm,
usually from a lived experience,
mm.
because those are the people who you know are not going to judge anything you've been through. And
Yeah,
so it's scary to take that step and open up, but I will share everything that I can to give you permission to open up as well.
yeah. And Cari, if someone feels stuck right now, what's the first step towards creating the life they dream of?
First thing is take a breath
Mm,
in through the nose, out through the mouth, and get grounded, like feel your feet on the floor. Because if you're feeling stuck, you very easily go into that anxious fight or flight mode. Take a breath, get grounded, and
yeah.
then reach out and find your tribe, find your community. Reach out if you have a friend that you can trust or a family member, and keep finding people.
Mm,
That is so vitally important, is to be around other people who understand what you're going through.
mm. And Cari, you've worked from everyone from trauma survivors to professional athletes. What's the
Mhm.
one lesson they all seem to share?
That there is that you can get past your trauma to the other
Mm,
side. There is another side. You don't have to stay in that pain forever. And
mm,
it's just like these women who came up to me. I didn't know that I was allowed to let go of everything I was holding. It was
mm,
like me. I didn't know that I had a choice to decide what to do with my life. there is the other side of it, and you can get to it, and it is glorious and beautiful and amazing. And it's there, and it's going to take a lot of work.
Mm,
But once you start working, once you push past that fear and that anxiety and that trepidation, and you let go of that first thing, you're going to understand when I say you feel freedom.
mm,
You're going to feel it this much, and that much is enough to keep going. And then we'll work on the next thing and the next thing, and you'll work on things on your own. And as the space just starts to open up, like you said, the layers of the onion start peeling back, and you
mm,
just create space. It's this shift creates light in people. And it's
mm.
there. It's there for every single person. I thought I was too broken to be helped. I used to get really annoyed at those people that would say, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I'm like, nah, you were born into a wealthy family, or you were given this, or you had that. That was not my story at all. My
Mm,
story was horrific and traumatic and scary. And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
mm,
And
yeah.
there's so much help out there for people. There truly is.
Mm. Now, Cari, we know there's healer's fatigue. So how do you keep your own energy and heart full while you're doing this deep work with your clients?
It's in between the clients.
Hmm.
I have learned how to space my clients out so that I have time in between to do what I need to do to keep me energized. I do, um, I'm starting to do yoga. I do cold plunging. I get out in nature. I'm lucky that I live right next to a massive lake and I live near some um, the woods, some state parks, forests. And so I've taken up running in the last year
Oh.
or two, which I have not learned to love running, but I love when I get done with running and say, I just ran. And so I run. I do a lot of exercise. My eating has really changed. There's all these things that I do just to take care of myself. And then I do those in between clients and make sure that I have enough energy for each person.
Mm. Some great tips there for other healers out there to hear what you do to keep yourself well. And what's one message you hope listeners take away from your story?
They're not alone. They are not the only one that has suffered what they've suffered. There are so
Mm,
many people out there who can relate to them. There are so many people that want to help them. There's people out there that love them without even knowing them.
mm,
And it seems impossible. I know. I felt the same way, but it's true.
yeah.
There's communities, there's tribes out there for them. They don't have to carry this alone. There are people there that will help them.
Mm. Yes, there's more people out there that want to help than not want to help.
Hmm.
So, Kari, is there a wellness ritual you can't go without?
Mine is my running and my cold plunging.
Oh,
I
wow.
actually I used to cold plunge in Lake Michigan, but in the winter it gets really rough. It's not
Mm,
safe. And so I actually went to our local like farm supply store and I bought
mm,
a big water trough that they put out in the field for cows
yeah.
and horses and I put it in my garage and fill it with cold water and I cold plunge in my garage. And
Wow.
it really helps ground me and it helps center me. It helps me it's another thing that is scary for me. It is scary for me to get into cold water.
Mm,
And every time I do it, it reminds me that I can do hard things. I can do scary things. Just because it's scary doesn't mean anything bad is going to happen. I can
mm,
still do it, come out just fine. And so that and running are the two things that really, really keep me going right now.
yeah. And what's one thing that makes you instantly smile?
Um, there's a lot. It's
Mm,
it's seeing people make that shift, whether it's physically, where we're
Mm.
physically figuring out. I mean, I will have people walk in and say, my shoulder hurts, and we'll work on their shoulder and it doesn't get better. And then I do some testing and I'm like, well, when did you mess up your knee? Your shoulder's out because your knee and your body's compensating, right? So and it's the same with coaching. When we can find what the root of the problem is and we can help, and me personally, when I can help somebody take one step forward that they never thought that they could take,
Mm.
uh, for me, it is life-giving because
Yeah.
it's life-giving for you. And I just get so excited for people to start creating and accomplishing things that they never thought they could.
Mm. Yes, it's amazing how the body, when you have issues or problems that you don't address, how they can manifest in your body in other ways, in pain and show up in other ways. And once you address that, the pain goes away. So it's magical work that you're doing, Cari. So
Thank
just on
you.
that, where can our listeners find your work and find you?
So the name of my body is Resilience Mind and Body Coaching. So you can email me at resilience mind and body coaching at Outlook. You can go to my website under the same name, resiliencemindandbody.com. If
Mm.
you go on YouTube under the business name, if you go on Facebook, if you go on Instagram or TikTok under my business name, and on those you can go under my personal name as well. And you can find videos that I've done. You can find the book that I was in. You can find posts that I've done, and you can contact me through that. Or you can go to even the link tree and slash resilience mind and body coaching, and that will give you access to all of my platforms.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing where our listeners can yeah, seek you out. I'm sure there'll be a few wanting to look you up, Cari. And just on our listeners, if we have a listener out there that's holding on to fear or doubt right now, what would you say to them?
Reach out.
Mm.
Reach out. Let's have a conversation. I may not be the one that can help you the best. Like maybe there's somebody else out there that can relate to you better. But if let's have a conversation. I know a ton of coaches that are in so many different niches. So if I can help you find somebody to help you, I am more than willing to do that. It's I if I can just go back just a little bit on something you said just a second ago.
Yeah.
I had fibromyalgia, I had chronic fatigue, I had epilepsy, and I had PCOS. Those were all autoimmune disorders except for the epilepsy, to the point where I had to give up my massage business for a few years because I could barely function. And once I started coaching and going through that year and a half of healing, all of my autoimmune issues started to disappear. My seizures stopped. So
Mm.
much of what was happening to me physically was because I was holding all this trauma in. And so, just if there's anything that's happening that autoimmune related doctors can't figure out, pain that you just can't get rid of, it could be trauma, it could be past experiences.
Mm.
Take that step, no matter how scary it is, and seek out help. And if this person can't, find somebody else. Find another person.
Mm.
Find some. I went through three therapists who couldn't help me. And it was a friend who made me promise to go to this coach because I wouldn't have gone if it were up to me. And the coach is what saved me. So
Mm.
keep searching. Don't ever think that you're alone and that you can't be helped because there's always going to be people that can help you.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that, Cari. It's and what your experience and life journey have gone through. As your story is living proof that no matter where we start, we can rewrite the ending. Healing is possible, change is possible, and living boldly without waiting for permission is possible. So thank you, Cari, for being so open with our listeners here today.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. This is Positive Vibes with Nicki Dennis. Until next time, remember you have everything you need to create the life you love. Sending you all love and positive vibes. Bye for now.